8,
9,
10.
Yes,
Hey.
I
Hello.
thought you were gonna do a little something, give us a little vocal something. I heard you wanting to.
No, I told you I'm off that.
All right.
I'm off
Hi.
trying to
Meanwhile, you were just
harmonize.
singing on the stories.
Couldn't help myself. Couldn't help myself. It's been 1 month and 2 days, and Renaissance still has me in a tight chokehold. I'm like falling in love with it. Like, I'm not bored of it at all. Songs that just the same stuff you were saying, but it's just like, even You Won't Break My Soul, I'll play. I don't skip that.
I was skipping that.
I don't skip it
anymore either. For some reason, within the body of work, I'm like,
the
okay.
transition, you be hyped for it when it come on. Yeah,
I'm like, am I falling for like just the Beyonce trap, or is this
Rashid
really
is too.
the best?
I think Rashid is going to come to a concert. Like, she has a concert. I'm pretty sure he will come in and probably lose his fucking mind.
Wait, Rashid is loving this?
Oh, he loves this album.
That makes me so.
He
That makes me
loves
love
it.
Rashid so much more than I already
He'll
do.
just randomly be like, "Unique," He'll just out of nowhere. No, he is like,
That
oh,
is
okay,
so
I get
sweet.
it. He's obsessed with me. This
No.
album is it's undeniably, it's a masterpiece. It's very good. Shout out to her.
I want to know what she's about to be charging for these concert tickets.
I don't care.
I'm paying
Unpopular
for it.
opinion. I did not. I guess I saw her once with you. Thank you so much. 4 seats. It
If
was
you're
the
about
On the
to say
Run
that
tour.
you didn't enjoy yourself.
I didn't enjoy her set. I didn't enjoy it because Jay-Z was a part of it.
Yeah.
I was not as hyped for her set that she had for On the Run
Unpopular
tour.
opinion, I was more hyped for Jay. I think had it been Formation, that tour, it would have been different.
Yeah.
Everybody, that's the tour I missed too. Everyone.
I thought she did. She just didn't have recordings for Formation.
She did record it. She won't release it.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, ha 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 ha.
She's like, I did not look like myself. I refuse. That fan was not blowing the way that it should have, so I will not release the entire album. But yeah.
So we're going.
I'm going.
Okay.
It depends.
What you mean it depends?
Listen, Runaway Curls can pay for that.
Pay for that. No, that's so fast. Research.
That is some research right there.
Baby, I skipped a rent before I skipped that show. I'm going. And weeping. Anyway.
It's September 1st. It's the first of the month. Is that my phone?
That's your phone.
My apologies for that. It's the first of the month. Next week, my child is officially in school, indoctrinated by the white man's teachings, and I couldn't be more elated. And I have been thinking about what I want to do in terms of business, in terms of my personal stuff. I had an opportunity to possibly open up a brick and mortar, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll do that, but it just does not feel right. And I've been sitting with business stuff, and I have reached my capacity. All that I know, I've hit my wall, and it's like, either you're going to be okay with spinning your wheels in this way, or you have to like level up. You have to figure out, you have to really pinpoint what's not working, and then you have to do the work to figure out how to like get over this hump. So I've been taking a lot of YouTube. I'm lying. I ain't take a lot. I just did it last night.
You're speaking it into existence.
I am such a Sagittarius. I am now enrolled in school at Yale for
YouTube Yale.
But I really feel like, all right, these next few months, all right, I have to hunker down and learn new stuff. I hopefully got accepted to this business class, which is like a serious class. That'll start in January. Figuring out YouTube stuff, knowing that all of this stuff applies to around the way curls. Shit, it's all the same thing.
I'm excited. I'm like, yes, please bring it on over, child.
But yeah, feeling studious. It's tapping all of my. It's again making me come full circle around what I want, because you can't like, if you got to study, you got to know what you want to know. You're like, got to know what you want. So I'm feeling more directed in that way. And then it's also tapping on all my self-doubt. It's like, you can't do this. You won't do this. And I'm like, no, I am. I'm going to do it. So yeah, that's my plan, is to put my head down, take these classes, get through the holiday as best as I can. And come out in the next 4 months, the top of the new year, like probably spring of next year, feeling like, all right, now I'm ready to like take on these bigger projects. I'm also taking Spanish. Yo hablo español.
Jealous.
Me llamo Shanti. Mucho gusto. I'm gonna take classes with two biracial girls. Shout out to them. I don't know if they listen to the podcast, but maybe you do. You know who you are. And I'm gonna take some Spanish classes every Thursday.
Oh, what time?
11 a.m.
Oh,
because my child will be in school.
What is it? Wow.
Learning the Western European ways of life, and I'm so for this. So yeah, those are my plans. I also earlier this week found myself crying.
Oh,
watching Cassie.
What?
Watching Cassie being loved on. Yeah, she had this reel that she created for her little white handsome husband, and their journey. I said, girl, go off.
I'm happy for her. She got out of that web, baby. She said,
Gotta wait for that black hole of the black peen. That is just a death trap.
Oh, no. Are we talking about love? What's his name?
Oh, I'm confused. That nigga saying self-love. The nerve.
He named himself. Could you imagine? He feels like not the most loving. But shout out. Yeah, I'm proud of Cassie, but I'm mostly proud of you. This sounds expansive as fuck.
I feel ready. The last time I studied, I got accepted into nursing school, okay?
Like a true Philly hood rat.
No, that true Philly hood rat was when I went to school to be a medical assistant before I went.
Why did I almost say nail technician? I knew it was something.
I wanted to do that too. And if this people don't work, I'm gonna open a daycare, girl. Like,
I'm not mad. I think that you would have an incredible daycare, because it wouldn't be, kids aren't going to be sitting there watching TV. Your hands are going to be in the earth. You're like, what do you feel?
Children play with earth. Oh yeah. Shout out to Arrested Development.
I haven't brought Arrested Development up with you in a long time.
Do you know those are the actual lyrics?
Yes.
Your hands in the dirt. Children play with earth. Oh yeah. Yo.
Don't get started with Arrested Development, please.
How are you?
I'm well. I'm doing much better. Peace out. I want to thank folks, because a lot of people wrote, because they were like, we can tell something's wrong with the internet, because I think maybe it was the week before, I don't know, where you were like, hey, how are you? And I was like, do you want the truth? I'm doing much better. My blood is no longer with me. It's no longer with me, so I'm no longer feeling all the things to that intensity. I do have some sadness, though. I really, really miss The View.
You're like the whitest woman I know.
I miss The View
my mom.
So much. And I hate that they announced that, what's her name? Anna Navarro was going to be part of The View, and then they went on their hiatus. It's like, come on, y'all.
Let me look up. Who was that?
Anna Navarro.
Puerto Rican?
No. Where's Anna from? Her family fled.
Nicaragua.
I know this. Yes. And so she is a Republican, but she is not a Trumpito Republican. But she is a Republican. She is conservative, but she is also not so conservative that she feels that her beliefs should impede on other folks' freedoms, like i.e. religion, abortion rights, etc., etc. So she's an interesting character. I'm worried that it might be like an echo chamber, just because everyone is so polarized against Trump. And because the Republican Party is basically falling in line with Trump, you don't have that kind of Republican representative at the table that the other hosts, that was, the role that they filled. I'm not saying I miss Meghan McCain at all, because I don't. She was just disrespectful. But we'll see what happens. I'm really interested in hearing them talk about policy.
When does it start again?
I think that they always take August off and they replay the show. So I believe that it comes back after the holiday weekend. So not much more time rather to wait. But I miss them. I miss them. I miss Joy. I be seeing Joy tweeting and I'm like, oh, Joy, I miss you. So, I'm waiting. I'm very anxious for that. And then a friend of mine, you and I were texting, trying to put the last minute, preparations in order for this episode. And we both fell asleep. And I fell asleep because I'm tired, because I stayed out too late. But I also was having a conversation with a friend about Blue Valentine, the movie. This person has never seen Blue Valentine. And I just thought to myself, okay, I almost want to say, please, can we watch? Like, we need to watch it together. I am so excited.
He's a black man. Is this a black person?
It is a black man.
Do black people like Blue Valentine the way
they should? I don't know why they wouldn't. It would be
I actually have
very
never
strange.
Conversed with a person aside from you.
I'm black.
Aside from you,
I was triggered. You heard it. I'm black. If anybody would understand it, it's you.
Oh my God. I've never talked to anybody else about it.
So Rashid has never watched.
I'm going to text him right now to see if he's ever watched it. He'd be like,
Oh no. So for all the Around the Way Curls listeners, you got homework. Please watch Blue Valentine. That is one of the best films about human relationships and the relationship with both yourself and a partner, and communication, lack thereof, regret, guilt. What are the other things?
Forgiveness,
vulnerability,
sexuality. Oh, it is a
masculinity,
raw, tender.
It's so well done. So,
and I don't know if it's because of what's his name though. If it were any other actor, I don't know if I would love it as much.
Who? Ryan Gosling?
Yeah,
he's beautiful in. He's a man. He was so excellent in that film, and they did so much preparation. You know me, so I said all this to say I came home and watched it, and then started watching interviews again and reliving like their preparation. And I looked up and it was 4:30 in the morning, and I said, "Did you work today? What are you doing?" But I was so inspired by them. And it's one of those.
What inspired you? What was inspiring?
Because I don't know how to talk about it without giving it away. I was trying to do.
Well, you're inspired by the characters or by the actors?
I was inspired by the characters, and I'm inspired by the actors because Ryan Gosling, since you saw it, he says that final scene, right? He says he was hopeful. And I did not get that. And so I was watching it and thinking to myself, wow, that was what he was living in as the actor. That's what he was playing in that moment. And as this woman watching it, it didn't resonate. I felt like Michelle Williams' character, where I couldn't see him fully. And I thought that was so interesting. But it's beautiful.
We should have a whole conversation because I have so many questions about who you empathize with more.
Oh, him.
Characters.
Him, honestly. But I know that he's terribly flawed. They both are. Anyway, we can't get into this. But folks, please watch Blue Valentine if and when you can. It is absolutely excellent.
Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams.
Yes. And I also I have to apologize. I have to apologize to folks. So I sent out, I think a couple months ago on the IG stories, messaging saying, hey, if you're interested in the budget spreadsheet, last call or whatever, get them in. And then I wrote again and said, okay, they're going out tonight, which caused more people to write in. There was like a second wave of almost like 50 some people who wrote like, oh, I want one too. I want one too. And I never sent them out because I had completed the first wave. So I apologize to everyone who I did not get back to. I just realized that I was going through our emails and trying to clear things up and saw all of these unopened budget spreadsheet emails. So I'm going to do that before the end of this holiday weekend. So by the time you hear this, it should be in your inbox. And if it is not, please email aroundthewaycurls@gmail.com. And then in the, what is that? The header. It's not a header. Child, the subject line, just write budget spreadsheet, and then I can send that out. But apologies. Gotta do better. But that's it. I don't really have a whole lot else going on. I am practicing. I hope I'm practicing self-care. My family wants me to drive to Pittsburgh, which is about 8 hours away, for a family picnic, and I don't think I'm gonna do it.
This is for the holiday?
Yeah, but this is the way my mother's guilt is set up. Her guilt trips is gnawing at me a little bit of like, oh man, everybody is getting older. I should go. I could go. So I have a scheduled call with her tomorrow, and we're going to see how victorious I am. If you see me in Pittsburgh, you didn't see me in Pittsburgh. Just mind your business. It never happened. So we shall see. But that's all. That's all for me. We haven't done this in a while, and all it is that I'm going to ask that the good folks who are listening, please take some time to rate, subscribe, and share Around the Way Curls. I've been seeing a lot of folks tweeting, which is really nice. And I've received a lot of messages, and I see them in the Around the Way Curl DMs as well. That is all very lovely, and we thank you. And if you could also make that shit public a little bit so other people can find out about us and we can grow our platform, that will be super duper helpful. Please make sure that you rate and subscribe on Apple specifically. And please leave a review if and when you can. That's it. Ashe. Go ahead. Oh, I'm still up. All right. Hot shit. So I was doing my little scrolling today, and Serena Williams has been everywhere recently because she's Serena Williams, and this is what folks believe to be her final like match, or I don't know, honey, I don't know a whole lot about tennis.
She's
it's
retiring,
not a match,
I believe.
Yeah, but what do you call it? It's her final
tournament.
Not a tournament. Thank you. And so I saw this, I followed the Bleacher Report, which they do a lot of sports. And it said when Serena won her first U.S. Open match, I don't know if any of this is going to mean anything to you. Steph Curry was only 10 years old, which is crazy. Whoa. Do you know who that is? Oh, you do know who that is because Aisha. Okay. Mm-hmm. He was only 10.
Wow.
Michael Jordan was in his second retirement from the NBA, from the Wizards. Or wait, no, was it the Wizards? Because he retired, came back, and then retired again. Tom Brady had thrown no touchdown passes at Michigan, so he was still in fucking college. LeBron James had not made his high school debut.
Wow.
And Greg Popovich was 106th on the all-time wins list. He is now number 1.
I don't know.
Greg I know. Popovich, that's a coach. That's a coach. It's the coach that
like somebody from South Philly.
Well, it's the coach that you'll always see speaking up about Black Lives Matter.
Okay,
and those, Greg's the shit.
What'd you say his name?
Greg Popovich.
Yes.
Sue Bird was a freshman at UConn, who's probably the best. She is, in my opinion, the best WNBA player, at least currently. And Tim Duncan had won NBA Rookie of the Year, which is fucking wild. And Stone Cold Steve Austin was the WWF champion. This is all to say that the time span that this woman has dominated, it's incredible. And when you think about it, you know, so much focus was on Venus. And there she was. And it's not to take anything away from Venus, because Venus is no slouch, to be clear. She dominated. And for a long time, Serena could not beat her sister. But I looked at those stats and I just thought to myself, wow, imagine all the things that her body has gone through. She almost died
in
giving,
labor.
Right, in childbirth.
How old is she?
I don't even know. And I should have looked that up in preparation for this. Serena Williams. And I think she's also playing doubles with her sister in this tournament.
She's only 40 years old? She's still young.
She is still young, but that's a lot of wear and tear on her body, especially the type of body that she has. Yeah. Because, you know, there's muscle mass there. That's weight that she's carrying around and running all crazy. But it's amazing to see her. It's amazing to see her rise to this occasion. I can't imagine the pressure that she is under when she walks out there. She knows that everybody is rooting for her. Everybody wants to see her win this. And she has struggled after she's had her child. Like that, no one's, I don't think anybody's going to deny that. But she's still a very formidable opponent. And she
won this most recent one. She won, right? She
beat the second best player or whatever it is. But it was evident. Yeah, it was evident that you know, the crowd's rooting for her. They're booing calls that don't go her way. She's calming them down. You know, she's showing sportsmanship. She's showing a lot of grace and a lot of composure. I just can't imagine that pressure. And like, I know that I've heard her speak. I listened to like interviews with her and different sports specials with her, and she puts a lot of pressure on herself, a lot. So I know, you know, that that's in her head, but she's just like, I can't practice. I can't imagine the type of mindfulness that she's practicing, even as she's walking out. Like, okay, be here, be in your body. But there was a really funny clip, and Yaba posted it, of her mom. Did you see this? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Her mom in the audience getting her daughter Olympia together. Mm-hmm. She gave her that black grandma look, and that little girl turned around like, let me stop acting up. But like, Tiger Woods was there screaming for her, and he's, you know, we know Tiger Woods has had his issues, right? But he just suffered an insane car accident that people didn't even think he would be able to walk again from.
Oh, I didn't know it was that severe. I knew
it was severe.
Well, apparently his son is walking in his shadows now.
His son's incredible.
His son's killing it. Oh boy. The experience of an athlete is probably incredible. Like, I would want to be a musician, and then I would want to be like an athlete, to know what that feels. Just the way that you have to train your body, the way you have to train your mind. The exhilaration and how fast your mind has to move, and the strategy and the thoughtfulness and the practice. It just must be like one of the highest feelings. Yeah. Like, I am that nigga. Like,
if you are that person.
If you were like one of the best athletes in the world, there's probably nothing that could compare to that, aside from like maybe, I don't know, something about music that, like an actual musician rather than like a performer.
Like
I'd rather be like Jimi Hendrix,
Robert Glasper,
Beyonce, somebody that really like.
Wait, the way that you just didn't call Beyonce a musician is wild to me.
She doesn't play. There's something about like playing music with other people, like being a part of a band.
You don't think a vocalist does that?
I don't know. I don't associate it that way. I mean, I am a vocalist. I know what that feels like. So I'm not that.
Yeah, okay. Moving right along. Would you like to sing for the people what you were singing? This is it. This is your big break. Do it.
Wait, I forgot the words. What was I singing?
I don't know. Something from...
It will come to me and I will break out.
Okay. Take your time, Queen. Don't rush your process. I also want to shout out, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on this, but the homie, I have been trying to link with this brother for mad long, and it's driving me crazy. Every other day, we're like, okay, we're going to try for this weekend to get tea. And then we never fucking do it because something comes up. Somebody's got to reschedule whatever it is. But he is my homie on the interwebs. I am Joel Leon. He has, and everybody knows, this little raggedy muffin over here. I make fun of spoken word, and so does Shanti. But this is well done. What were you about to say?
Nothing.
Say it.
Shout out to him.
Okay. Shanti has not heard it. Joel Leon.
Ooh, where he from?
Oh, he's just black. Black. His thing says writer. Black dad. Black man. Black dad. Black poet. But check his stuff out, y'all. It's not heady in a sense. Joel. Leon. But
see, that's how you had to say it now.
Anyway, he's dope. I actually was introduced to him from See the Thing Is. Him and Bridget Kelly are cool. He came on there and I was like, who is this? Who is this dude in these overalls talking his shit? And then I followed him. He followed me. And he was like, I peeped you on there too. What's up? And so we just been like meeting of the minds, I guess, in a way. But he's dope. Check it out. Support the good brother. Yada, 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 yada. What else? I would like to shout out all of the teachers about to go back to school. Take care of these badass baby kids. Try to give them some sense. I want to shout out the teacher in my life, Amanda Ray Henderson. I saw her classroom via the interwebs. It looks beautiful. She's outdone herself yet again. And I just want to thank y'all. Y'all are really doing the Lord's work. And you don't get enough credit for it. Amanda don't
teach the white man's. She's teaching the black man's.
She is at
pedagogy.
Okay. Now, I won't say the whole name of the school now, but it's St. Kofa is in there. So you already know it's just, you already know. It's giving hotep. Okay?
Yeah, shout out to all the teachers.
And if you have a teacher in your life, a lot of teachers put together wish lists, and you can find a lot of them on Amazon. I'm trying to support Amazon as much, but you can find a lot of the wish lists on there. And if you have $1 or $2 to support a teacher to help support young people, please help support. But that's it. Shout out to y'all. Y'all know who y'all are.
Another news of Black excellence, which I did not know. This hot shit is dedicated to Missy Elliott. She's the only female to have 6 platinum albums.
Really?
Go Missy!
The only female what?
I don't know. Female artist? Female musician?
Really?
Female person? To have 6 platinum albums?
What are her 6 platinum albums?
Don't ask all these goddamn questions. Why are you questioning it? She was online. She said thank you about it. What you trying to say? She's lying?
I don't think she's lying at all. Why are you doing this? Are they all her albums? Are they other people's albums? 6 plat. Look at both of us. Everyone, just take a moment. Take a beat. We are Googling. Yeah, most of any female rapper in the game. I'm like, not on Beyonce's internet is she the only female.
Beyonce has platinum albums.
You don't think Beyonce has platinum albums?
Not 6 platinum albums. How many platinum albums is Beyonce? Apparently, this album is a very hasn't been selling well. But also, like, selling things in this day and age doesn't really, Yeah. I don't know if Beyonce has 6 platinum albums.
Well, that's just.
Anyway,
She
we're
will.
taking away from Missy's shine.
Right.
Why, whenever we have to mention
I
any
apologize.
type of music artist, even athlete at this point, we have to reference Beyonce.
That
Shout out
just
to
is giving
Missy.
greatness. Shout out to Missy.
I feel like she don't get the flowers she deserves.
I think she does in people's hearts and minds. It might not happen in the media, but real ones know. Like Missy is up here, top tier talent. That was why everybody was saying, like, who could Missy go against in a versus? Nobody. That's why I kept saying Missy the artist versus Missy the producer. I just don't know what she's. If you take Missy out of the equation,
You done fucked
all
up
of
a lot
her
of artists.
music.
A lot of
What'd you
artists
say?
go with her as well.
Yes, a lot. Take Missy out. There ain't no Jasmine without Missy. There isn't.
Okay.
They didn't know what to do with her. There's
Put
no jazz
this
without
reggae
her.
song on.
Anyway.
I'm gonna go off topic for a moment. What's going on with Chris Brown and Usher versus? I feel like that Usher finally said.
Usher said, "I'm the king. I will take the throne, the crown, the title of king of R&B. I'm standing on the shoulders of Michael Jackson, and the rest of you people are standing on my shoulders. You're welcome.
You bitches are my sons. Okay.
Go sit on a potty." That ass. I'm not mad at that energy. That's the energy I think Usher is supposed to have. Usher is a problem. Shout out to Chris Brown. You know what? I do think I don't want to say this because it reveals something about me. But I do think I do think that if Chris Brown had a more wholesome vibe, packaging, that he might have more mainstream love than I think he does. I think within a certain community, he's really like held up and loved on, even like in a sector of that community, because not all black people fuck with him. Yeah, or people of I hate people
the
of
whites
color.
don't fuck with Chris Brown.
Not on that. Not in the way that they fuck with Usher.
Really?
Because I feel like Usher's on The Voice. You ain't gonna see Chris Brown on The fucking Voice.
I gotta talk to my sister about this.
Yes, you should. I keep forgetting you have white folks readily available to you in a very different way.
I gotta talk with my white tribunal.
I think so. Like the John Legends, they're like clean cut, wholesome. Chris Brown is like could be doing drugs. It seems, it looks, sir. You're running with Rihanna, which really derailed him. At first, he was the double mint person. He had all,
song. Double your pleasure.
Were you going to sing it? Come on, go for it.
It's really the ambient music that makes that song. Can't. My vocals.
Anyway, I'm hoping that Chris Brown. I think Chris Brown is good with it. I don't think it was shady. I don't think it was anything like that. It's more.
No, I think Chris Brown is tight by it. Like whatever. I think Chris Brown's a better dancer than Usher.
Agreed, and that's what people were saying. They were like, "All right, Usher is, he's the singer. He's the one that's got the, the songs that we go back to."
Not my favorite voice either, but. Anyway, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I apologize
weren't you the
for
one that
bringing
was
it up.
arguing with me over this Usher thing? I just want to bring that up.
Oh no, time. I didn't. I wasn't arguing about it.
You weren't? Because I had felt like
I was just listening to you arguing about Justin Timberlake. I was actually hearing you out on that. I was hearing.
Were you?
Yeah, I was hearing you out. I didn't say I agreed. I think I didn't have an opinion about it. Tricky me. Sneaky. Sneak myself.
Anyway.
Anywho.
In other news, I'm curious to know, since we did talk about teachers and you have a child going back to school, could you have made it in this day and age? Because I would
have thrived.
In this day and age, in the social media, wow.
I don't know about the social media, but I know that from 8th grade, first of all, I had a job before all my friends had a job. So I was always making my money. In 8th grade, I was working at a gourmet food shop, and I worked every day, saved up a lot of money. I bought all of my school clothes. I had five pair of Timbs.
What color?
I had the brown with the light sole when that came out.
Yes.
I had the hiker boots, the beige and the green. Mm-hmm. I had the black and the blue. I had traditional Timbs. I like the black and the blue.
You had all black Timbs ever?
Huh?
You had the all blacks ever?
No.
I used to like some Jones.
And before they made the girls' Rockaware sweatsuit, I bought the boys' kids' Rockaware sweatsuit. I was killing it. That was when my life was falling apart, though, and I dropped out of school shortly afterwards.
See, let this be a lesson to you young people listening.
But yes, if I had the same mentality back then, I'd have been like...
You would be broke. That's what the fuck you would be.
I wouldn't be putting the lashes. I was very broke. I'll never forget. After I bought that Rockaware sweatsuit, I had $2 to my name. I was like, this feels irresponsible. I can't buy any books or get on the bus.
I'm just going to go. I bought all these clothes. I'm just going to drop out now. Because I'm buying these clothes to cover up how I actually feel inside.
It's
Jesus
true.
Christ.
It's
well,
true.
I didn't even think about clothes because I still am not Miss Fashionista. And my parents never, ever invested in back to school clothes. But my back to school clothes, my mom would take me to like Express and I would get a blazer. I was that person. I was business casual my whole fucking life. It's ridiculous. It really is. Like when I look back, I'm like, why? I used to have this blazer on with these long jean skirts, these flowers in my hair. It was a whole Hotep Neo Soul experience over here. But what I was thinking about was social media. I don't know if at that age I would have been able to handle wanting the attention, and God forbid I would have gotten the attention on social media. You know, what that it would have done to my psyche and how I would have just most likely become very addicted to it. And
we'll talk about this later on in the episode.
Okay. And just been doing stupid shit to try to get more and more
terrible
affirmations and
no,
I
I'm
don't
glad.
envy these poor kids.
No, I'm so happy. Yeah.
And then I also will say too that the school that we went to, I look back on that and I hear other horror stories from other people. And I'm so grateful that we went to a school where we were able to just be weird. Mm-hmm. You know, like shout out to Kappa, Creative and Performing Arts High School. Everyone has these horror stories about their high school experience. And high school is one of the best times of my fucking life. I don't know if you feel that way.
No.
I don't think you do.
No.
But for me, I was so grateful to be in a space where I could just figure it out, get really weird with people who were getting really weird with themselves, and just not feel as judged at all.
No, if you were in like a high peer pressure, you know, follow the status quo type of school, you'd be messed up.
Yeah, God knew where to put me, child.
Me too, child.
Praying for these childless kids. But in other news, and this is leading to shit. I don't know what happened to this young woman in high school. You sent this to me, Miss Stacey Dash. And we're laughing, but if you really read into it, Stacey's tell me what this is about, please, because you're the one that sent it to me.
Apparently, Stacey Dash just realized that DMX died. And then, in her grieving, connecting it to her past substance abuse, was just grieving how he died, grieving that he succumbed to his addiction, basically, and that, you know, the wear and tear took him down. And she was sitting there sniffling and crying.
Do you want to hear it? It was the music.
White. Like, I was, first of all, like,
that
she put the music on.
I do believe she put the music on.
No, I don't think so. Don't lie.
Okay, y'all. I'm ashamed.
cocaine overdose. All the demons for my very life. I'm not listening to this. But if she did put that, I'm not on the TikTok. If she did put that music on there, I'm concerned. But the thing that I'm really concerned because we really are all trying to be stars in our own fucking movies. But the thing that concerned me was, I guess, how they dragged her. They dragged her, and I get it. I know, because Stacey Dash also has a history of not associating with the Black community. She was just on whatever that Black ass show is, where I don't know, a whole bunch of C-class celebrities go on there, and Nene Leakes and Big Frida, and they talk about they're going to school. I forget what it's called. Can't stand myself. But they were at a HBCU, and this woman was, saying like, who here? Like, we're in a room full of Black folks. And she was like, I mixed, like offered that. It was like very defensive. And everybody just kind of looked, and she ended up leaving the show very early on. She just couldn't connect. And that they brought her on there to be the awkward one who didn't connect with Black culture, right? And I don't know what tragedy happened to her that, she went from, her appearance is interesting. I don't know when she got that light.
Is that the lighting?
I don't know, but I had to go back and I looked her up, her old pictures in Clueless.
She was brown.
She was a beautiful brown woman. She's more annoying to me when she talks about politics, because I'm just like, oh, girl, hush. And then when she gets into this victim thing, which I think a part of that, there was a part of that in this. But I just want us to take some time and always ask ourselves, why is this person behaving like this? What is happening within them? And I can't imagine the demons she's fighting.
What is she behaving like? The fact that it's just
well, she's had her own substance abuse.
That she did not know that DMX passed. Well, that is just.
It's not if you're not in certain circles.
I'm about to text my mom. If my mom knows that DMX passed,
text your mom. It's not if you're not in certain circles. It's not if you don't associate with your own community. Her cousin is
Damon Dash. She was in a Kanye West video. She knows Black people. She's a Black person.
Does she now? I don't know if she does.
When DMX passed, it wasn't just on BET News and like
I know that
106 in Park headlines. Like it was
but she was obviously going through her own demons and fighting her own substance abuse. So she might not have been
6 years
fully
ago.
Immersed.
She said that was 6 years ago that she was.
That's an ongoing fight. That you always fighting that demon. All right, you could be clean, but you still fighting. I'm just saying. I get it. I get it. How she's an easy target, and
this is ridiculous.
I'm fighting that laughter.
It's comical. It's ridiculous, and everybody's response to be like, "Girl."
I was more concerned about how she made it about her. I was
she didn't. I feel like it was. I feel like her tears were. Yes, it was a little bit of her, definitely her centering herself.
She's embodying a white woman. Sorry, that was the part that got it for me. Not that she didn't know. I was like, that didn't surprise me. It was the embodiment of like, how can I center myself in this moment? And if she put that fucking music on that video, baby.
No, they added that. They had to have added that.
We got to find that original video on TikTok. But.
And the fact that she posted it, but I think she's probably drawing... I don't think that is that crazy, that she was deeply affected and related to her own struggle with substance abuse and the fact that somebody that was beloved and she was listening to the song. Like what?
I've never wanted to hear from...
She's been listening to DMX and did not know that he was dead.
I've never wanted to hear from DMX more in my fucking life. Like, I wish DMX could comment on this. He'd be like, what? Anyway, I don't know. Shout out to her. Shout out to
girl. Wake up. Wake up.
Yeah.
Grow up and wake up. What in the world? Also, kind of like what in the world for Kendrick Lamar and Taylor Page's new short film release of Cry Together, the song where they're like, fuck you, fuck you. I could have not seen that.
Oh, I didn't see it.
It wasn't particularly cinematically beautiful. It didn't tell a story any greater than, I think it was far more powerful with just the audio of it. And like he bends her over and gets her doggy style as well. I was like, oh, that was also a bit much for me. I'm not sure that we needed that.
I need to see it. I can't comment on it. I think there's a lot of times you comment on these sexual. Okay.
And I don't know. If that, even if it was, it made me think like, what?
He's acting.
I know, but that just, if I was his baby mama, I would feel some kind of way. So I'm not mature enough. All the shit I talk about. It's one thing for me to know that your partner's doing that thing, but then to see it, I was just like, oh, they had to do that. Anyway, it's definitely a part of the drama that they have, but it didn't feel. They're just basically acting out the audio. There's nothing new except they're just walking around screaming at each other, and which is
limiting because I think the audio allowed you to have a lot more possibility.
It felt far more powerful
and imaginative, right? Mm-hmm. Like personally,
far more impactful. So anyway, that's my popular opinion on that. And
I don't want to spend a lot of time on this one, but Chris Rock, you know. Sometimes you just have to shut up and wait. Because people were mad at me about my take.
Girl, people still don't mean he needed to slap him.
I'm not saying that. But all I'm saying is, this, and it's not, I don't want to make this specific to Chris Rock, but to give the backstory, Chris Rock made a joke in poor taste. He was saying that the Oscars actually invited him to host next year. And he was like, that's like going back to the scene of the crime. That's like Anna Nicole Brown going back to the restaurant right before when OJ killed her. Yes, that's what he said.
OJ we do not know that OJ was not convicted for killing her.
The hill you want to die on this episode? Goodbye. OJ! Child,
beat that case.
He's not getting it allegedly out of me. All right, OJ killed that poor woman and that man, which he should. Anyway, that is not radical honesty. But anyway, people were really upset. They were like, "Whoa, this is in poor taste." And then, of course, black folks were like, "Oh, now y'all pissed because he's talking about your little, white woman." But then when he's right in front of this black woman playing her, and I get it. I don't think the two things quite equate because one is about murder, like a horrible murder, and then the other is, alopecia, which hurts as well.
And continued abuse.
Yes.
Like he abused her throughout their entire marriage. Like,
right. But, people got on their soapbox and did their things. My thing about it is less about him and more about this concept around comedy. When are things funny? When are they not? Who decides? And people are going to have an issue with almost everything everyone says. I just saw a comment. Somebody left Patreon and they said, they said, it's not funny. I didn't even realize I did this because it's not a part of my vocabulary. I didn't think. But they said, I have begged Antoinette, I don't know where the begging is, I don't think I've ever seen it, to stop using the dreadful R word, and she won't. I can no longer support this podcast. And I was like, what is the R word? I guess it's read, and I'll let you finish. Read, do you know what I'm talking about? Because you're looking at me. Okay. I didn't realize that I was saying that. I completely offended this person, and they dipped out, and they were like, and apparently they've been vocal about it, and I've just never seen it. So I say that I try to be really mindful about how I present myself on here. This platform is not nearly anything close to Chris Rock. And, you know, sometimes we're joking. Sometimes we say things in jest. Sometimes people get it. Sometimes people don't. Sometimes people are offended. There's going to be a moment, I feel, I hope not, but I feel it's almost inevitable where we say something where we get in a little bit of trouble. It doesn't rub people the right way, right? But my thing is like, who the fuck decides that in that moment? Like, I think that's in poor taste. I also thought the other joke was in poor taste. I don't want to talk about him getting slapped. But we are in this place where it's tricky. It's tricky. And you might could get slapped. I do think it is because you don't know.
That's not funny. Like, that's not funny.
It's not funny. I'm talking about more general. I'm talking about more general of like, this is just another example of it. You know, we've had someone say that they felt that I was violent because I often talk about male and women relationships, and also I think I was misgendering them at that point, and I didn't know that they no longer identified as the gender that I was identifying them as. And so to me it just feels like, well, shit, I didn't know. Now, Chris Rock, I think, should know better, but should he? I've seen his comedy. I just saw him live. He says wild shit all of the time. So this might be new to him. Like, oh, I can't say that. I've been saying crazy shit like this. Like
he's been making jokes about abused and murdered.
He makes jokes about how he hates his children.
Yeah, but every parent feels that way. That's funny. It's like a collective. Humor is funny because it has a truth in it somewhere. That's like everybody's like, oh, that, you know. I think what you're saying, I get what you're saying, but I don't know if it applies to his situation. I feel like maybe with this particular joke and him getting the backlash for making light of and comparing himself to a murdered woman compared to folks being corrected and learning how to be more inclusive in the way that they speak and like opening up their worldview a little bit more. I feel like those are different. I'm not asking him to open up. Like maybe I feel like what's the man's name? Dave Chappelle feels like more a comparable conversation of like, all right, Dave, we done told you 15,000 times, and he's just blatantly like, I don't have a, resistant to it, and like makes a joke out of the way that he's basically giving the finger to the trans community and the gay community, which I don't know.
Which is
that's ridiculous. And Chris should apologize for that. If he had integrity, he would apologize.
Well, no, he's playing the victim right now. Meanwhile, Will Smith, I have to say, is really giving us a master class, I think, on how to handle very public mistakes and ridicule, and how to slowly test whether or not the collective has forgiven him or if they're ready to hear from him. Like, you see him dipping and dabbing, and I'm sure he's going to do more of that. And I don't want him to have to like tiptoe or, bend over backwards to get anyone's
I'll be commenting on his stuff like, we love you, Will.
Me too.
I love you, Will. We miss you. We miss you. Come back, Will.
Because I think that we believe him. Maybe that's more. I never believed Chris Rock was hurt the way he was. I never believed it.
The fact that he hasn't addressed it yet as well feels...
He said he's not ready to. But that was his way. That was the first time he did, really. He addressed it at the show that I went to and had his, a couple little jokes.
Okay.
But, he had some joke about a slap, and he was like, "Are you Will Smith?" And it was like, "Oh, okay." It was just more like, "Oh, remember when that person did this to me?"
Definitely,
everybody should be angry with him.
Accountability, an act of accountability, which is an act of vulnerability.
Right, though. Chris Brown hit the nail on the head. That's a different thing.
Does not feel vulnerable at all, and like willing to be vulnerable in a way that calls for trust or builds trust in the way that, like you said, I think Will Smith is like doing this thing with a mass of people, a collective of people, accountability. Child, he need to sit down with Renee Brown.
He probably gonna sit his ass right back down that goddamn red table. Moving right along. Thank you for that. You helped me put that into perspective. Politics as usual. Let us know, Queen. We've got mental health crisis. Let's go.
I think this is really important for parents who have adolescent. I mean, fuck it. The way it's going these days, even if children are in grade school, very, very young, they're still experiencing this. I was listening to The Daily. The episode is called Inside the Adolescent Mental Health Crisis. And there is just that, a mental health crisis in this country. They went on to talk about how in the past, pediatricians were just dealing with common childhood illnesses, broken bones, lots of like antibiotics were being prescribed. And in the past couple of years, it has changed to anxiety medication, depression, self-harm, childhood suicide. And they didn't immediately correlate the rise in mental health issues with the rise of social media. They connected it, but they didn't say it's because of that. They went on to say that kids are reaching puberty earlier. And so their bodies are growing more quickly, and a part of their brain is growing more quickly, the part of the brain that starts picking up on more social cues and like hierarchy and things of that nature, as well as being inundated with information and having access to social media, but still not having another part of their brain that's around reasoning and decision making, and like their other cognitive abilities have yet to develop. And so there's this conflict, and kids are kind of in this space where they have all this information, they're feeling all of these things, and they're not getting the help that they need because parents, it's just kind of like this evolutionary thing that's happening that even I am not going to have the same experience coming of age that Jolie's going to have. So like, it's kind of like we have to become more aware of our kids and how to help them cognitively around basic social decision making, how to manage homework, I don't know, the scary part or the actually exciting part. And I really love that that's how they framed it in the journalism that they did, is that what's ending up happening is that there is now a demand for therapy that's around the cognitive development, around decision making, around learning how to basically be more self-aware at a younger age. And they're moving away from just prescribing drugs and stuff because they're not getting to the root cause of what's really afflicting these kids. So for parents that, have adolescent kids, have kids that are bodies are changing, just kind of be on the lookout, be really attentive to them. And if they are experiencing things like anxiety or withdrawing in a way, of course, go to your doctor and kind of, explore medicine if that is what they prescribe. But also, I think it's really important to explore the alternative kind of therapies of how they described it are cognitive therapies that will help your kids create a more an earlier foundation of like their own self-awareness and where they fit into the world and how to maneuver in this inundated with information and just shit that affects them biologically different than it hit us.
Did they say that there were resources for the parents at all? Because I'm not clear that even folks our age, a little bit younger, who have kids
that's
a little bit
the
older,
crisis.
They even understand.
That is the crisis, because even the Nation of National Pediatricians Association, I don't know what the technical name is, are naming this. They're saying, hey, we're noticing that there's this rise in mental health crisis with our kids, and we don't have the therapies to help them because the medicine is not the way to do it, and we don't have enough trained cognitive therapists that like are tapping into this.
Even for the parents.
For the parents or the kids. I mean, for both. For both. So it's a serious, it's crazy. It's crazy. Kids as young as like 3rd grade are experiencing anxiety, panic attacks, like, and then suicidal. It's interesting that they connected it to earlier puberty. I wonder what, I don't know. It's like we're evolving.
I swear that's the food.
It is the food. It has to be the food.
I don't want to be that person, but it's the fucking food. You cannot put all this shit in our food, and then we feed this to our babies, and then we don't see the correlation there of like, oh, why are you growing up so much faster? Because you're eating this meat that's pumped with hormones.
It's wild.
You're eating these fake vegetables, like fake fruit. It's just wild.
I was also thinking about how polluted the sea is, how gross the sea is actually. Like, it's this huge thing, but it's now coming to the point that it's disgusting. And the seafood, I'm like I'm thinking about not eating any seafood because there's no way. There's no way.
You gonna eat chicken wings?
I'm gonna just keep eating them pumpkin chicken wings. But I've been pretty good about not. At this point, girl, I don't know what to do. I don't think any of us can escape the effects of what's happening right now. So, parents, watch out for your little ones. If there are some people that know a little bit more about this and want to come on and talk, I think this is a really important resource for parents to kind of understand, because I think what our parents put on us, and I think a lot of us still carry that, is something's wrong with the kid. You're not being responsible. You don't got your head right. Like, get your head in the game, concentrate, focus, and the kids like cannot. They don't know how to do it. They need somebody to walk them through.
But the parents don't either. I can't tell you how many times I'm working with people, or you and I are in conversation, and we recognize that we need to put our fucking phone down. You know, how many times that we're just scrolling and not scrolling, like every time we scroll, we're taking in information, whether it's subconsciously, whether the information is, you're watching traumatic videos, or you're watching folks make fun of people, or you're watching, I don't know, some funny meme, whatever it is. The information, if you see this meme, is, oh, I need to be more witty, or like it's hard to not somehow take it in, and then not to go too woo woo. But I'm also really worried about these fucking waves, these internet 5G radio. All of this plays a part in it. You and I were talking about our eggs, and I don't want to get into that conversation.
That's another important conversation, though.
It is, but the way we were having it, we ain't know nothing. It's like, how many eggs do we have? It was so stupid.
How many eggs do you have? 1 million?
I forgot. I Googled it the other night. You ain't remember? Well, it was a lot of them. But by the time you get to our age, we only got like 200,000. And then you brought up a good point. And if you stand it by the microwave, like,
your eggs get zonked out. It's hard out here.
There's no way that's not affecting your bodies. Sleeping with the phone, like all of these things.
We haven't evolved for this. We're not evolved. But as you can see, it's something is happening. Is that the next generations are getting tweaked. Niggas are getting tweaked by it.
It's interesting. It's like when I don't know about you, but I love National Geographic. And so I'll put it on sometimes before bed. And you can see how, like, the animals kind of progress, especially sea creatures, how years and years ago, they might not have changed this color, but they've now adapted in order to survive, in order, I feel like we're doing that, but I don't know. I guess mind rules everything. I hope therapy can help us with these microwaves and what it's doing to us. I just don't know.
It's the waves, and then it's the social weird stuff, and then it's the social
food.
media, and then it's the messaging that they're hearing, the collective message, because of like,
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Well, shout out to JoJo going back to school.
Shout out to all the parents. Shout out to all the kids that.
No, I think it's really good though. I hope that there is someone listening who can either offer a resource or who is a resource that can come on and talk to us more about this. In other news, Nigeria, I thought this was very interesting. Nigeria becomes the first country to ban foreign models in advertising. So I want to be clear. It's not the ban was not on white models. A lot of people, that's what I'm seeing running around on social media. And as I dug deeper and I was listening to a couple of interviews with, his name is escaping me, but he is basically the head of advertising in Nigeria. And which is interesting that there is a head of advertising in Nigeria. But this was a catalyst for making money and circulating the dollar within the community. So the thought process was that if they ban foreign models, that they would then have to rely on Nigerian talent. And so that money would flow more. And it's not just models, it's also voiceover actors and things like talent, things of that nature within advertising. Now, a lot of people were like, oh, Nigeria is doing it. Shout out to representation. They tired of the white man's beauty standards. Yada, yada, yada. When you listen to most of these interviews, they say nothing about that. They could give a fuck, it seems, about representation. All they're talking about is the dollar. And that
we want the white Nigerians. We want light-skinned Nigerians.
I will be very curious to see what happens. I had a side conversation with not my PVO guys, but another Nigerian gentleman who does very well for himself and is in the art space. And he'll remain nameless. I don't know if he wants to share, but he was just saying that he just distrusts it completely, and that he feels that it is indeed all about money, and that how do I say this? The effects of white supremacy and colonization are so deep in Nigeria as well, and the effects of capitalism, that he just doesn't think that it's going. He said it might have that impact. I would be happy if it did, but it would be secondary to what their mission is, if that makes sense. So that was a little burst of my bubble there. But I don't know. What do you think about that? Because we were just talking about how the beauty industry, baby, that's $1 billion business, $1 trillion business.
I'm curious to see what the imagery looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, cash rules.
And it's interesting that we equate advertising to beauty. And I think it's because they said model, that word.
Yeah. I'm just curious to know what it's going to look like. Is that going to be the cure-all for dismantling all of those isms that you just mentioned? Probably not. But I'm curious as to what effects
I'll take it if
have.
it helps. Yeah, right? It's like, I want to see what those secondary effects are. We shall see. In other news, y'all thought y'all was going to have a whole episode without me talking about Joseph Robinette Biden, but you was wrong. So Robbie was just addressing the nation, and I didn't see it because we're recording. But what I did catch, he came out guns a-blazing, and he doesn't often, sorry, he'll live in the ghetto. He doesn't often name Trump as much as he used to. I think he's been very strategic about that, because he's been talking about being bipartisan, but this was like a battle cry almost.
Oh,
yeah, I think it was twofold. Well, he basically was saying again that we were fighting for the soul of the nation, which I think is a kind of played out Democratic message. They need a new one.
Soul of the nation? Y'all know America ain't got no soul, man.
That part, baby. But
who believes that?
Joseph does. Joseph does. And we can say America has no soul, but again, it depends on what your background is, because there's still people who want to come to America. This is the home of the free, and the land of possibility. So it is layered. But his approach was very much felt more partisan. What is partisan? Because I keep using that word, and I know we're still getting through politics, but partisan is when you're on one side, like the sides of the aisle, the left side, the right side. I'm sorry? Polarized. Bipartisan is when you're working together. Republicans, Democrats, they're working together, right? But in this speech, he called out Trump. He called out the Republican Party that is falling in line with Trump very urgently, very directly. And it also felt like he was testing the waters out as well to see if people really don't want him to run again. It felt like a campaign speech. It didn't feel like, and he's in office.
Like, boo, sit your old ass down.
We're gonna see. It felt more like a campaign speech. It didn't feel like a speech right before the midterms, because his whole platform has been about bipartisanship, working across the aisle, and it's not like he's going to endorse any Republicans running during these midterm elections. So he couldn't quite come out in that way. So I think that he was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna be really bold and try to have everybody vote down that
Babylon
Democratic line.
There.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm curious to know what the response will be.
Your sounds in the back sounds. Is everything okay?
Over here?
Are you safe?
You can hear that?
Yeah.
I apologize. America's getting better every day. I don't know what's going on out there. I keep my monkey house in the house. I'd be like, oh, child, it's in the end of days. But no, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to be ageist. I struggle with that. Because Joe just got a lot of shit done. He did. There's more to be done. But
I'd like to see who
6 more years, Joe.
Who would be? I want to see who the next who his competition would be.
Well, that's what I think that this is where they're testing the waters out and seeing what the response would be. I think it's going to be if Kamala's not on the ticket with him again. I haven't seen this lady. They don't seem like they're gelling, right?
No.
So that would be interesting, and I could just be talking out my.
She's gonna tell all the business.
No, that would not be smart, because then she just feels like a untrustworthy woman who lets her emotions get the best of her. She's got to be smarter than that, which is unfair. But anyway, I cannot wait to watch whatever. I don't think that was even a State of the Union. I don't know what that specifically was.
Hold on, let me clear my chest real quick. Hear me out.
It might have been a State of the Union. I'm not sure. I feel like I would have wrote that down on my calendar. But anyway, yeah, that's it. How do you feel? I think this is good timing.
Wonderful.
Well. Do you think we should end with politics? I feel like politics leaves us on a it doesn't leave us on the high.
We should.
It used to when Trumpito was out here. I mean, there's a lot more to be said, but I don't feel like getting into Trump and the Mar-a-Lago. They still talking about these damn papers he had laying around. He got his lawyers saying all kinds of shit that contradict.
He was like them Asians from Shein. I don't know if they're Asians. So I apologize for that. I apologize.
Okay. Well,
he threw out a Shein statement. I
don't think it's shit. I think you're being really
Shein. What is it then?
People say Shein, but also it could be an
Shein.
American
Let me tell you
accent.
something. I forgot to tell everybody, but I got photos printed, and I'm so happy. I got photos printed of us.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
For everybody, y'all need to go to CVS. I got like 25 photos printed
let me
for
see.
$7. Good job.
Oh my God.
Me and
I
my
love
white
that
mom.
for you. Do you know that I don't have almost any pictures in my house of anyone else? If it's not art, it's not up. Have you noticed that?
I
That
can't
says
show this
something
picture,
about
but
me.
I'll show you when we get offline.
Let
I'll
me
tell
see
you
it.
why I felt inspired to do it.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, everyone, that is the end of this episode.
Thank you so much for listening and watching. If you're a patron, and we will see you guys, and you will hear from us next week.
This week, it's 2 episodes a week.
Damn, I forgot. My bad.
All right. That we are out. We gotta figure out a way to end on an upper. We're like,
Are you done recording?
oh.